This strange tale was recorded by a historian in the margins of an old tome. Once upon a time, there was a princess who lived at the summit of a majestic tower. On a fateful night, the royal family paid her a visit. Together they shared a pleasant dinner. Following the meal, her aunt requested a private audience with her in the tower's library. The servants stationed outside the room noticed their voices getting louder and more violent. Abruptly, the princess stormed out with tears in her eyes. In silence, the servants guided her to her chambers. The princess quietly instructed her attendants to warn her if her aunt made any suspicious movements. She then vanished behind her bedroom door, locking it behind her. Time passed, and night became day again. The servants came to the princess' bedroom for her morning routine, but they found the door was still locked. They knocked, but there was no answer. Growing anxious, they forcefully broke down the door, only to discover the princess was dead. Inexplicably, the sole key to her room was found upon her table. Every member of the royal family and all the servants were assembled, and everyone was accounted for. A perplexing murder had occurred within a room sealed from the inside. Can you solve it? No way, how can this be? My dear sister cruelly murdered. Just when we were about to have a tea party and go riding together, what horrible monster could have done this? What, so you're a princess now? Wait a minute, if the key was inside, then how did the culprit escape? This smells like a cunning scheme. Am I a princess, you ask? Not today. Today I'm a detective. I'm going to solve this mystery no matter what. For the good people of the kingdom. No, for my dearest sister. Alright, sure, whatever. Investigation. We are now in 100% locked room murder mystery territory. Objective. What do we have as facts? A princess was found dead in her chambers. The room was locked and the key was inside. How? Diorama. The diorama shows the state of the tower moments before the body was found. Testimony. The princess welcomed the royal family over in her tower. Testimony. The princess had a meeting with her aunt that night. She stormed off in distress. Testimony. A couple of servants escorted her to her bedroom. They heard her locking the door. Testimony. The next morning, a few servants tried entering the princess' room, but the door was still locked. Testimony. The servants forced the door open and found the princess dead. Testimony. The servants gathered everyone together, but no one came to know anything. Okay? Fact. The victim was smothered with a pillow. Okay, that removes the option I was thinking of, that this was going to case similar to the mystery of the yellow room. Fact. The rooms below the princess' chambers were guest rooms. Fact. Nobody tampered with the crime scene after the door was forced open. Fact. The key found inside the princess' bedroom was the only key capable of opening the door. Was it the only key capable of closing the door? Let's assume so, otherwise that seems like incredibly cheaty. So we have an entrance, the tower, grass, nothing obvious in the grass, some windows, small balcony with a balcony door, more windows, we can go inside this level. This must be the guest rooms. balcony door, which can be opened. A bed, pillow, bed. Nothing suspicious here. A nightstand, a candle, and another door. And then in the top level, there's only one window. That leads to the princess room. You can open that window. There is a couple of seats here. There are some curtains, a plant, a clock, table, dressing table, candle, the key, scissors, thread, needle, books, carpet, door, wardrobe with books on top, the bed with a pillow, the victim. Okay, sure. Seems very possible for someone to just get out the window and wait on this on the roof of the tower here, and or maybe just go down to the guest rooms from here. There are nothing obvious there, but I think that should be it. Gasp! Now I understand the terrible truth behind this case. Yeah, good to hear. We've got ourselves a good old-fashioned locked room mystery here. The guards heard the princess locked in her own room, yet the killer was somehow able to get in, do the deed, and get out. Or so it seems. Let's start with this question. How did the killer enter the room if the princess had locked the door? The princess can open the door again. Because of how the door got unlocked, because of when they entered, the killer entered from somewhere else. The killer never entered the room. We know the killer entered the room. There's no way to smother someone with a pillow from outside the room. Could they enter via the window already? Or could they have been inside already? How the door got unlocked because of when they entered. I'm gonna say they were already in the room. I understand. My sister must have been scared of Auntie, that's why she locked the door. She was tricked. She didn't lock the criminal out, she locked herself in with them. The bad guy must have been hiding somewhere. And when she was sleeping, my poor sister, I can't keep going, this is too sad. Haha, you've got it. If the killer snuck inside the room before the princess locked the door, that would have done the trick. But after committing the crime, the killer would have still needed to escape somehow, but we're only halfway there. How do you think the criminal escaped from that room? Using the window. The killer didn't open the door, they escaped through the window. That way, they wouldn't need to use the key at all. Alright, but the window was closed when the servants got inside the room. What do you make of that? Just outside of the room there is a roof you can stand on. So the killer jumped outside and then closed the window from up there. Easy as that, right? Easy as that. Very nice, Chief. Okay, so far we know how the criminal got in and out of the room. What's next? What did they do to get down from there? The bad guy jumped downstairs into this little balcony. Yeah, obviously. That makes sense, but what would you say is the distance between the roof and the balcony? I don't know, a lot? It would be roughly like dropping down one floor. People can definitely survive a fall like that, but there is some risk of injury, and that would make you suspicious. So we're looking for a method that's a bit safer than just jumping off the roof. Any ideas what that could be? Because of what they used. What did the criminal use to escape from the roof without getting hurt? Threats. I don't really get the idea. Wasn't it? I mean, they could have put one of the beds or the mattresses. Here outside. That is a possibility, right? I know the answer. It's true that the evildoer could hurt themselves jumping down the roof, but not if something was there to cushion the fall, something they had prepared beforehand. What could that be? Why, it's terrible simple, the beds downstairs. Criminal took the mattresses and put them on the balcony before going to my sister's bedroom. That way they had a place to jump to without getting hurt, and that's what happened. Excellent, good going. And that's it, that concludes the trick. There's not a lot of information available for this particular case. But here's what people think happened. There was a power struggle with the royal family, and a few members wanted the princess out of the picture. At night, the murderer entered a news guest room and placed the mattresses on the balcony. Then they snuck into the princess' bedroom while she was gone. The princess, after having a meeting with her aunt, returned to her room along with her guards. When she arrived, she locked the door, unaware that her assailant was hiding inside. And while she was sleeping, she was stalked. After killing the victim, the criminal needed to escape. They jumped from the window onto the roof before dropping down into the balcony below, where a couple of well-placed mattresses cushioned their fall. And with no evidence left behind, they simply snuck back into the room. And thinking they'd get away with it, they slept through the night like a baby. I hope you're watching me from heaven, sister. I did it. I solved it. Hey, Dad, this was fun. Can we do more mysteries in castles and stuff, please? You never get tired, do you? What do you mean? That thing where you pretend you're a real detective or something. Stop doing that. Why? Because it's stupid. It's for little kids. It's not stupid. It's cool. Why are you even here if it's like you don't want to play? I'm not here to play. I'm here to study. I'm going to be a real detective someday. So this is like school to you? Whoa, that's so boring. Shut up. If you're not going to take this seriously, just leave already. We don't need you. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't wanna. Why do you have to ruin everything? You don't even care. You suck. Well, buddy, hold on. Oh, there he goes. He gets so annoying when we play detectives. Oh, I know. What if we do the next one without telling him? Oh, alright. Let's have a little chat, Cherry. You two need to make up. This is getting ridiculous. No, but Bo just left. You want to talk to him, right? Nice try. You heard me. Rapunzel Complex. Alright, you guys remember this one, right? It's time for Act 2. Last time we ended on a bit of a sour note. Good thing you talked it out in a civilized manner and made up, right? Yeah, didn't think so. Oh, hey, the balconies are gone. Yeah, I did remove them. Let me explain. I actually simplified a few things from the real mystery. It would have been too hard otherwise. Really? You did that for shy, right? Don't take it as me doubting you too. I just thought it would be better to do it like this. So let's go over what the tower actually looked like. First, in the previous version of the tower, I said the guest rooms had balconies. But in reality, they just had regular windows. That means you can't jump down, right? Correct. The other night, we said the killer escaped by jumping down from the roof. But with no balconies, that wouldn't quite work out. Okay, I get it. Let's start activating detective mode. Hold on, don't go activating anything yet. There is something else that's different. Take a quick look at the crime scene, see if you can spot anything new. Yeah, there is something on the window. What is that? I should have brought my magnifying glass. It's a bolt. If you slide at the little metal bar, it locks the window. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because when the servants broke into the room and discovered the body, it wasn't only the door that was locked, the window was bolted shut too. Okay, let me spoil you that the killer entered the room exactly like we talked about last time. That's not the problem here. The problem is how they escaped from the room, leaving both the door and the window locked. Oh, and check out the guest room before doing anything else. There is something important in there. Try not to miss it. And that's it. Now get to solving, detectives. Investigation. Want to check everything again. Just in case. Rope. I mean, if there was rope. Not sure what the mystery is. Now, where would you tie the rope? You can use the thread. You can use the thread to lock the bolt from outside. Then you can use the ropes to descend. Although I'm not totally sure how. You can have the rope all around the tower. Then you descend using both sides of both extremes of the rope. And then you can just pull from one of the sides of the rope to get the full rope out. It seems like there's enough rope there. I get it, this isn't that hard. You think so? Well, if you figure it out, let's go back to when the crime happened. The culprit kills the princess and needs to flee the scene. How do they escape from the top of the tower? Because of what they used, because of where they escaped to, because of what they used. What did the criminal use to escape from the roof? Rope. The killer used a rope, right? To climb down, I mean. Yeah, that. Good. A little obvious maybe, but of course that's what the new clues are for. Yeah, and they used, what was it called? Here, a quick release note. They used that to get the rope back. Perfect. And what did the killer tie the rope to? What do you mean? You know, they would have needed to tie the rope to something, otherwise something funny would have occurred. Just tie it to something, doesn't matter what? Of course it does. Getting the details right is important, boss. Let's be precise here. What exactly did the criminal tie the rope to before climbing down? I think it tied it to the tower. I see it, what was right in front of us all along. The truth. Shy, cut it out, I'm thinking. If I can figure it out, what chance do you have? Yes, my dear Bowson, I can see you carefully investigating the crime scene. But you're failing to notice that if the rope was tied to something inside the room, then the villain wouldn't have been able to close the window. Yeah, big deal. Already knew that, so what? It's simple. If the rope wasn't tied to something inside the room, then it must have been tied to something outside of it. Like the tower itself. Oh, really, Shy? The tower? Very smart. And I keep actually trying to solve this now? Don't see it, do you? Don't fret. I shall gladly explain how the escape took place. Killer climbed into the roof and closed the window behind them. Then, with their open hand, they circled around the tower. After coming back round, they made a knot, climbed down towards freedom, supported by nothing else than the cursed tower itself. Good job, Pumpkin. Nice thinking outside the box. That's a tough one too. I mean, of course, it was elementary. He's joking, Jadans. There's no way that's the answer. Tying a rope to something so big is ridiculous. I wasn't kidding. Why is it ridiculous? I mean, I don't know. It sounded weird because of how Shy explained it. Like, wouldn't you need a lot of rope to do that? But there was. Look, you can tie everything up to make a super rope. Okay, whatever. If that says it works, it's fine, I guess. Come on, you're a smart kid. You don't need to take my word for it. Do you think your sister's idea makes sense or not? Yeah, it makes sense. Great, so we're all on the same page here. Now, the criminal closed the window from outside the bedroom just before climbing down. But they wouldn't be able to lock it since the bolt is on the inside. So the next question is, how exactly did the killer bolt the window? Because of what they used to bolt it. Threads. Once the killer left the bedroom, accessing the bolt seems impossible. Unless, of course, they locked it from far away, which could be easily done with the gentle pull of a thread. A thread? The string went from the lock thingy, through the keyhole, and out of the room. Oh, that's more complicated than I was thinking. After the bad guy climbed down, they merrily returned to the room from outside, and with a simple pull of the thread, they bolted the window shut. Then, using the secret rope arch, they recovered the thread from the thing. A thread is just a tiny rope after all. And thus the ruse was complete. Is that right? It sure is. Very nice, Pumpkin, you got it. Just doing my job, sir. What, she's right again? No way. Yes way. Bow down, Botho. Ace detective coming through. What's going on? No, wait, that doesn't make sense. Why not? To lock the window, you have to push the bolt to the side. If you pull from the door, you're pulling the wrong way. You can't lock the window like that. Oh, that's it? Yeah, that means you're wrong. Not really, though. No, he's got a point. Pulling the bolt away from the window wouldn't quite lock it. I don't get it. Isn't it easy to make it work anyway? Love the confidence. Alright, I'm all ears, Cherry. How did the criminal manage to slide the bolt sideways? Because of what else they used. Because of how they pull. Because of what else they used. They will need to link the thread through to the bed, maybe. The bad guy just wrapped the string around something in the room. So the string went like this, and then like that. That way, when they pulled on the string, the lock moved to the left. Oh. And that, my dear Bowson, is how it's done. You've got it, baby. You're on fire today. Yeah, I did it. Case solved. Fantastic work, kiddos. Let's review. After committing the crime, what did the criminal do? They tied a little string to the window. Exactly. And they passed it through the keyhole so that the end of the string could be pulled from outside. Then they took a second string, tied it to the first one, and repeated the process. This would let them remove it later. The criminal then climbed onto the roof and closed the window behind them. What happened after that? The killer went around the tower holding a rope. Then they tied it and used it to climb down. And you go, and don't forget the killer used 2 ropes here as well. And after the killer snuck into the guest room, they pulled the second rope down to retrieve everything. Having escaped, they quietly went back upstairs to the princess room and pulled the string, passing through the keyhole, bolting the window shut. Then they pulled the second string to retrieve everything from the thing using the same trick as before. And without any clues left behind, the locked room mystery was completed. This didn't feel like 3 stars difficulty, really. Dad, Shy is cheating. Oh, where does that come from? Come on, your sister wouldn't do that. Yeah, that would be lame. She's trying to trick you, Dad. There is no way she figured out everything by herself. Why not? Besides, this story is rare, Chief. She couldn't have known it beforehand if that's what you're suggesting. But then how? I also detective skills, though. So you seriously just came up with all that? You're kidding, right? Nope. That makes no sense. All you do is say, oh, that's elementary, pretending you're smart or something. I'm the one who's actually trying to be a detective. You just can't figure out things faster than me. Oh, Bo, you're like those police people that say the obvious wrong things before the real detective shows up. You're trying to be a detective, but I'm already one. I'm Sherry, the super detective. I can solve anything. No, you're not. You're just pretending. See, that's what I'm saying. Obvious. If you can't even see I'm a real detective, how are you going to see anything else? Boring people can only solve boring mysteries. What did you say? Hold on, time out. As fun as it is to see you two bicker, give me a hand cleaning up first, alright? Okay. Shy, wait. Tell me how you actually solved it for real this time. Hey. I'm not listening. Shy, stop ignoring me. Shy.